Well, welcome back. It is JOJ again. Hope you all enjoyed fireworks last weekend.
Yep, lots of fireworks and our random live from Aunt Margie's subdivision.
Yep.
Seems like with each month, especially summertime, the kids and tournament season back, it's each live gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah. We thought we were going to be home in time.
It was looking like we were going to make it home.
Yeah, but quick version of it all. They do like a cow patty drop. My dad won $1,000.
Yep.
Off of cow doo-doo. So.
And Abby won $100 for selling the winning ticket. Yeah. And it took that cow like 5 minutes to do his business.
Yeah. And so they'd called Dad, told him, we were like, hey, we'll pick up your money. So we met him on the way home. Is why we got
ended up in Aunt Margie's subdivision.
That was why we ended up being live from there instead of. But yeah, so I guess we're gonna start with a little game. Okay.
Some summer would you rather, and I have not read them. So
is this like some would you rather, or it's summer because it's summertime? Like Olaf.
Summer.
He loves summer, right?
He does.
Okay. So summer would you rather watch clouds in the daytime or stars at night?
I'm gonna say daytime. Well, I don't know. Stars at night are pretty.
Stars at night are pretty.
Yeah.
Bugs are usually worse.
Exactly. So I'm going daytime.
Yeah.
Clouds.
And I'm not a night person, but I'd rather watch stars at night. I don't know why, but I would. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think clouds in daytime is probably gonna storm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was thinking like the white, pretty, fluffy clouds.
The big puffy ones.
Here's a good one. Have starfish for hands or pink flamingo legs?
I don't know where this would come from.
We need a graphic of that.
Yes.
Some starfish hands or with pink flamingo legs.
Maybe with pink flamingo legs.
Yes.
I mean, I'm always barefoot in the boat, and I would think with pink flamingo legs, I could take like really long strides.
Well, starfish, the grip, so you can grip with your hands.
Yeah. Trying to land a smallmouth, you just
got it.
Onto them. Yeah. Have pineapples for hair or talk like a parrot? Definitely talk like a parrot.
I don't like pineapples in general.
No,
so.
yeah.
Have a beach ball for a head or a snorkel for your nose?
The snorkel seems pretty useful.
Yeah.
I mean, in my line of work.
Yeah. Your nose is already kind of there, so.
Let's move on to the next question. Vacation on a crowded beach or deserted island? I would definitely take the deserted island.
Yeah. And an island's the same thing as a beach, except there's nobody there, right? An island.
Yeah,
I think
so.
It's the thing we went to in the Bahamas.
Yeah, but I mean, it's far from being deserted.
Have lightning bugs for eyes or ladybug legs? What are ladybug legs? Like just the little tiny black?
Yeah.
Okay, I want lightning bug eyes.
Yeah, for sure, lightning bug eyes. Go on a high roller coaster or a high water slide? Water slide for sure.
I would probably choose the roller coaster, I think.
So you pass out again?
Exactly, I won't remember it. But a high water slide, the water going up in my face.
Oh, that's fine. Run through sand or grass or sand?
Run through grass or sand. Definitely grass.
Yeah. No.
Right?
I'd rather run through sand. How would you not rather run through sand? You'd be on the beach.
It's harder to run through sand than it is grass.
But if you run through sand, you're on the beach.
Well, yeah, that's true.
If you run through grass, you're in the yard.
Well, you could be at grass near the beach.
If you're at sand, you're almost certainly near water.
Fine, sand.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's my answer.
Well, but
okay, build a campfire or build a sandcastle. I'll take a sandcastle because the sand is at the beach.
And I'd rather have a campfire.
Not in the grass, but he'll run through the sand to get to his campfire.
Well, grass makes me itch.
You can have a campfire on the sand. People have beach fires all the time.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Surf in the ocean or kayak in a lake?
Okay, I love the ocean. And I don't really surf.
No.
I can kayak in a lake.
Yeah.
What are you going with?
I wouldn't do any good at surfing, but I would rather surf.
If I was good at it, it'd be good.
Yeah, kayaking. I mean, they're both hard work, I guess.
Have suntan lotion for hair.
Or pool noodle arms.
Pool noodle arms. Swim everywhere you go, or the floor is lava.
Swim everywhere.
I would swim everywhere, but the kids would love that question.
Oh,
they
yes.
That Netflix show, that Floor is Lava, they set up their whole little game in there.
Yeah. Be in a parade or go on a treasure hunt.
Treasure hunt.
Treasure hunt would be fun.
I'm thinking like National Treasure. Is that where your mind went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Summer, would you rather?
Summer, would you rather?
Summer would rather not.
Last episode, we left it off with, we had met with the doctors.
Yep.
And unknowingly got our heart surgery scheduled for the very next day after meeting with the surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible verse that I chose was Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
And that one was really, I feel like, very comforting for you in that time. And I think the one, mine, this is heart surgery day. This was I just kept replaying this verse in my mind before I truly went back for surgery, and it was Philippians 1:21, and that was for me to live as Christ and to die as gain. And that was, I just kept, I don't know why, but God put that in my mind. I just kept replaying that over and over before I went in for surgery, honestly. So,
and I think it was such a whirlwind in that moment that it was just like we were fed so much information, and then all of a sudden it's like, bam, okay, be here at 7 a.m. So of course, like our kids, I don't even know where they were. I think they may have been with your mom.
I think so. Starting out,
they kind of they went everywhere.
Yeah.
But and of course in insurance, like dealing with that because it all happened so quickly. So they call, and like at first it was like we weren't network. Then they called back and they're like, "No, you're fine. You're in network. We've got it worked out." So we're just okay, fine.
Yeah.
And so me being like the planner, I'm like, well, okay. So I know our deductible is like $3,000. Like out of pocket maximum was like $15,000. I'm like, we'll be in this thing for $18,000, which is a huge amount of money. But he just won the Classic, thankfully. So it was kind of, at that moment, in our lives, it was like, we're good. Like, okay, if this is what we come out of this with, then, we'll be thankful because it could be so much worse. Mm-hmm. Little did we know. So we were feeling good about it. Like, got the kids situated and get up and drive to West Knoxville for heart surgery, which I think was the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the last time we were home, the last time we spent at home, the kids were not here. Mm-hmm. I remember us sitting on the back porch. I think we had done maybe a Facebook Live or something then. I'm sure many people as we could get were praying for us. And that was definitely a lot of comfort. And I know, was Chris Wells there that morning before I went back? Or he came by during the day. Of course, Mark Williams, our pastor, came by.
Oh yeah, we had all of our, pretty much a lot of our immediate family was there that morning. And like we were there, and then they took Ott back, and they're like, well, you'll get to see him, like before he goes back, like we'll come get you. We're just gonna, take him back, get him prepped, whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, like we're waiting, because I think they took you back at like 8.
Yeah.
And I don't think they brought me back till close to 11.
Yeah, so I'm thinking 10:30.
10:30. It had been a while.
Yeah, like we thought I'd go back and maybe be there an hour, and then you'd come see me, and then I would.
But no, they like brought us in literally right. Wheeled him off as we were back there, which they should have brought me in earlier. I feel like. That was not like, it was like we go back there like, okay, like Dr. Jones is ready. He finished up early and on the guy or girl before him. So so it was just like this whirlwind, and he had this thing in his neck, and it just was. Yeah,
and back up a little bit, like the night before, I had to self prep a little bit at home, but like I didn't I wasn't supposed to shave. I didn't shave myself because they didn't want me to mess it up, basically.
Or get a cut or infection or anything. Yeah.
So, but I had to use this pink soap, which I just threw away. Well, I don't know why I'd kept it for so long.
I don't either. But literally like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just threw it away.
But it was, some type of special soap. But it was like wash and wash 6 times with it. This funky pink stuff. But yeah, it was just my self-prepping at home. But yeah, so that was, it was, they'd shave me and I look like a 12-year-old kid again, no hair on my chest. And
it was excellent.
Yeah. But by the time Jennie did get to come back there, I was plumbed for heart bypass, which is what she's talking about, sticking out of my neck, which I was already on a little bit of medication. I mean, I wasn't hurting at all, even with all the plumbing that I had going on.
Yeah, he was definitely chilled out, but he was definitely wired everywhere.
My wrist, my groin, my neck. Everything else.
The neck was.
Yeah.
So anyway, like Mark and I, our pastor, go back and pray and everything, and so then they just wheel them off, and so we're coming out, and this lady like hands me the bag, like on TV shows that they give you like after somebody dies, they give you their bag of stuff. She's like, here, just hold on to that. Okay. So I like come out and I'm like carrying his stuff, and my mom kind of looks at me and I'm like, okay, like we got to go upstairs now. Like we move upstairs and we wait. Like it was just bizarre.
Yeah. What was this? It was about 2.5 hours surgery.
I feel like it was longer than that, but it could have been between 2.5 and 3 hours, I'd say. Yeah.
And I think that's about what they'd planned. They were like, 3 hours or so from the time I'd go back till it should be done, as long as everything went according to plan. And did they gave you some updates?
Yeah, they would call and I think they gave us 2 updates. I think they called when they had called and said they started, and then they called, I want to say they called and just said everything was going good.
Yeah.
And then maybe the third one was that you were off of bypass and heading to recovery. And then at that point, the nurse, when we were allowed to go back or whatever, then she came out.
Yeah.
But one thing that stuck out to me that morning was, and Ott was back. He wasn't in surgery yet. We were still on the first floor. And I mean, of course, like I know, like locally, we've been on the news at this point. We've done all this Facebook stuff. But the sweetest, I went to the bathroom or something, and I was walking back out, and the sweetest old lady just stopped me, and she's like, "Is today the day?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And she just hugged me, and she was like, we've just been praying, and and I was good until that moment. Yeah. I think I was like, okay, like and then I come back and my mom's like, "What's wrong with you? Like, are you okay?" And I was like, the sweetest little old lady just stopped me, and she's crying, I'm crying, like, it was just it was a good moment.
Yeah. Just for a stranger in the hall. Yeah. Yeah.
You.
But yeah, those, and God puts those people, in your path when you need somebody like that. There's no doubt about it. And that, like, I know about these updates and stuff. You told me all this because I didn't know any of it when it was going on.
No, of course not. No.
And that's what's, like, Mark has shared different stuff and talking about how, when our time does come, and how being in a surgery like this, that's why it's so weird. Anybody that's ever had surgery like that, that they can relate to this. That, I mean, I remember them pushing me back, and then going to sleep, and the next thing I remember is waking up in the room. I mean, there is no recollection of anything in between. There's no dreaming. There's no nothing. I'm asleep 1 second, I'm awake the next, with no idea how long it's been, if it's been 30 minutes or if it's been 30 hours in between. And that, I think that, to me, that's the closest thing I can possibly relate what I expect it to be like from the time when we actually do pass away until we wake up in heaven. If you know Jesus as your Savior, that's, to me, it's that twinkling of an eye. It happens in an instant. It could be 100 years, and it happens. There's no. You have no grasp of time as to what it feels like, because it just all of a sudden, just instantly, is you go from one to the next. Yeah.
But for here, it's hours.
Yes, yeah. No, for
Hours.
you all sitting there waiting, that would have definitely been
During the whole time when Aunt was back there, and even days before, like, I never had that fear or worry that, like, he wasn't going to wake up. Like, I feel like in that situation, most people, that's, like, immediately where their mind goes is, like, what if they don't come through? But I honestly never did. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was me, like, telling myself that this was going to be okay, or me telling God that this was going to be okay. Or
God telling you that it's
yeah,
gonna be okay.
Or if it was just God giving me peace of, like, hey, like, he's fine, but I had, like, between our parents and Chris and Mark, like, and I had my good friend Beth was there. I had a whole slew of people waiting with me in the waiting room. And I can just remember I had his ring that he had on, and I just had it on my thumb, and I just spun it, like, for out. Like, my thumb was raw because I was just, like fidgeting, just sitting there.
The thing I remember most, you tell me about your mom.
Yes, trying to make me eat.
Yeah.
Yes, my mom is, like, comfort food is her thing. And so she's always, whether it's me, Aunt, the children, everybody needs to eat.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I'm anxious, and food is not on my mind. Like, my friend had brought me a drink from Starbucks, and that was plenty. That was perfect. And she's like, you need to have some protein. And I was like, Mom, I'm really not. She's like, I'm going to go down the cafeteria, whatever. They go and get chicken and come back up. And she's like, you need to eat, like, with the chicken. You need to eat. And I'm like, Mom, no. Like, and I, like, take a bite of it. And she's like, you need to eat more. And I look at her finally, I'm like, Mama, if you want me to throw up on you, like, then I will eat this chicken. And she's like, no, that's okay. I was like, I promise. Like,
actually, I think you full named her, didn't you? Didn't you Kathy Ann?
I probably Kathy Ander in the moment. But, that was just because that's my mom. Like, my mom can't fix what's going on with him. So she's like, here, like, eat, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just, no. And after surgery was done, like, of course, everybody couldn't go back. And I think everybody had actually left. Like, I think they called, the doctor came out, and he's really cool. He actually sent me a picture of what Aunt cut out. I don't know if you all want us to share that or not, but I have a picture of the leaflet that they actually cut out.
Yeah.
Because I'm creepy that way. And he was, because when he came out and told us how everything was, he's like, I took a picture of it. Do you want to see it? Well, yeah. So he's like, I'll text it to you. So, I don't know why I still have, whatever. Anywho,
Yeah.
So I think everybody had left because it was just Beth and I.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, you can come back and see him. He's awake. They didn't tell me, like, they had said he may or may not be intubated. Just depends on how he comes off everything.
Mm-hmm. So she's going in there thinking I'll still be on the ventilator.
Yes, I just don't know. But I'm preparing myself that he may still be on the ventilator. And so Beth was still there. And she's like, this is your moment. And I was like, no, you have to come back with me. Like,
yeah.
And she's like, no, and I'm like, no, you are coming back with me. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, like, if he's still on the ventilator and I, like, cry a lot, or, so, I want somebody there with me. And so she's like, okay, let's go. And poor Beth, like, she doesn't even really know you that well at this time.
No.
She knows me, but, so we go in, and he was actually, thinking it's not on a ventilator, but he was sitting up, and he doesn't remember any of it.
You
were awake, but
okay.
Yeah, you don't remember any of it. And so I think I just felt like this instant relief of, like, okay, it's fine. And she was like, okay, I'm going to go. I was like, okay, you can leave now. And so then, of course, I stayed. And then that first night was rough.
Yeah.
They were really sweet and let me, because he was in the ICU. And so I wasn't supposed to sleep in his room. I was supposed to sleep out in the waiting area, which was fine. Like, I was not leaving. I had my pillow, blanket. Like, I had already made me a little nest out there, but I was the only one out there. And so I think she was like, just go curl up in the chair. Don't make noise. Like, just, she's like, they may just let you hang out in there, and I was like, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
But that night was so rough. He was just in so much pain. And they would come in, and, like, he'd have to get up. And I remember, they made you eat, and it was like midnight. Like they're like, you have to have soup, and you kept asking for more crackers or something.
Well, it was
something you kept asking more for, and they thought it was so funny.
Yeah,
it was the crackers,
it was
right?
the crackers. But I mean, as soon as I remember coming, waking up, and of course I'm hurting, but I was hungry because going before this, I mean, I had a heart cath on Monday that I couldn't eat. So he couldn't eat
after Sunday night.
And then Tuesday we met with the surgeon to find out we're having surgery on Wednesday. So like from that time forward, or from like noon on Tuesday, I couldn't eat.
We went to Mimi's Cafe,
right.
and that was like your last
meal. That was my last meal. Yeah, it was like noon on Tuesday was the last time I could eat. And so I mean, I've been.
It's now midnight Thursday.
4 days with 2 days worth of meals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wake up and I'm like, I'm hungry. And they're like, most people when they come off anesthesia, they definitely don't feel like eating. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm hungry. And they brought me some saltine crackers, and that was the best thing I had ate ever in my life. Was eating one of them saltine crackers.
And his actions and noises prove that he was very happy that
I was.
These are so good.
I mean, you just thought I was eating tuna sashimi. I mean, it was like the best thing I'd ever put in my mouth. And then I'd have just a little bit of water because they didn't want me to get sick. They didn't want me to put too much on my stomach, get sick, and then tear my stitches or any of that kind of stuff. If I did. But so they were like, "Are you okay? You've ate a cracker. Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Just bring me more crackers.
I just want some more crackers.
But when I finally got to eat some soup and stuff, I just scarfed it down as I was starved to death.
Yeah, the nurses thought that was pretty funny because they're like, this is just not normal heart patient.
All. Yeah. They're like, people do not want to eat when they come here.
And so they would have him get up and sit in his chair. He couldn't get comfortable in the bed. So then he would sit up in the chair. So I slept in the bed. Like, I know at one point they come in and I was curled up in a ball on the bed and he was in the chair. And so we just kind of hopped around.
Yeah. Because I was in a yellow gown because of a fall hazard. So I couldn't get up on my own, which, with my incision, my scars on my side, I didn't have to do a sternotomy. So they went between my 8th and 9th ribs, and that's where my pain was from. I mean,
because you still had a drain tube in,
tube in. So
thank goodness that thing was gone. They took that out.
all that the intubated tube, all that stuff was gone. But the drain tube, and then just the fact that they had opened up my ribs, big enough to get a softball or tennis ball. Softball. That's how far spread apart those were. So that's causing pain to do any of this. I mean, it was like in tears just to raise my arm a little bit, cough. I
kind of wish I had that on video.
I mean, that's a pretty good reenactment of it, though. I mean, I would cough and whine. But and I had to cough because where I had been on
the stuff,
sedated so long, they're like, you got to keep your lungs clear, don't develop pneumonia. Have the little breathing thing. Have to breathe in to expand my lung. All that stuff. But so 2 nights in ICU. First night was extremely rough. It was every hour and a half somebody was in the room.
But it got the next night wasn't so bad, and then the next night, of course, we were in a regular room. I guess were we in a regular room 2 nights?
No, just one. ICU 2 nights, regular one.
But even during the days, it got better almost each hour we were there, as far as figuring out pain and just getting to walk around. Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, you don't think of having heart surgery as fun, but we've really had a pretty good time. I mean, it was just us and we had some friends that came by and stopped by. We didn't have too many visitors, and so it was just, I mean, it was like we spent a lot of time together and just laying in the hospital, because we couldn't really go anywhere.
Watched Major League Fishing.
Yeah,
they were in Neenah, Wisconsin.
Yeah, they had a tournament, so he sat in the chair and ate, and so I mean, to be there, and I think that speaks just for us and who we are together. It was like we didn't care, we had a good time.
It was,
and that breakfast was the best.
Breakfast was.
You had you didn't get to have he didn't get to have the good breakfast because they had him on a very strict diet just because of the salt stuff.
Healthy diet.
But I mean, I've told them, like, we should stop by there and just go have breakfast from the cafeteria. It was really good.
Yeah, Jennie was a pretty big fan of it.
Yeah.
My applesauce and eggs.
Plain applesauce.
Plain applesauce, plain eggs. I mean, and that's what was funny was after that, how good, I mean, like the saltine crackers. Stuff. I mean, how good like simple foods tasted. It really was amazing to me, and it was that way honestly for weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was, but like, I mean, a plain egg was like just the greatest thing I ever ate, and I mean, you know, I didn't need barbecue sauce on something to eat. It really was that way for weeks. And I mean, I've lost all that now, but that was one
now
thing.
He's back to enjoying that barbecue sauce.
Yeah, but
sweet tea.
Yeah, that was one thing that was funny with it was it was like ice water tasted great.
Yep. Yeah. And our kids. So one of the funniest things, and then we'll kind of wrap this one up, is our kids never came to see him.
Nope.
Like, we FaceTimed, and someone had come by, and they were like, where are the kids at today? And I'm like,
I don't know.
I honestly don't know who has them. I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I mean, that's how out of it I was with them. I mean, like, we would call, like, I'd call and FaceTime them and give them updates, but I honestly, in that moment, had no idea who had our kids. So, one, that proves we have a great circle of friends around us, because they just passed them around.
Yeah.
Kind of everybody had their turn with them. But they were with my mom that day, and because Mom was like, well, you know, do you want me to bring the kids down? And I said, well, let me just talk to them and see. Of course, Aunt wanted to see them, but they also had no idea how serious the surgery was. Like, none. We kind of just said, you know, Dad's got, you know, we explained it to him, you know, but never, like, went into detail of, like, you know, the littlest thing could happen and it not be good, or how serious it was that we found it when we did. Like, they're kind of just now finding that out after watching this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Abby knew a little bit, but I just wanted to protect them from, you know, I didn't want that on their mind, or we didn't want that on their minds of, like, you know, we just wanted them, you know, let's pray about it. Like, let's trust that it's going to be okay. And if something more serious happens, you know.
Her problem, not mine.
I'll get to deal with it. Well, what's new? You're hearing what's new. You know, so they didn't. They were kind of oblivious to it. But they were at my mom's, and I was like, let us FaceTime them. And I'm like, do you guys want to come see Dad? And they're like, well, can you show us? Can we show him to us? And I was like, well, yeah. Okay, well, we're swimming, so we're just going to stay here.
It's fine, love you.
Yeah. We'll see you when you come home.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
so we give them a hard time about that now.
Yeah.
We're like, y'all, Dad was on death's door, and you wouldn't even come visit him.
I had heart surgery, and y'all didn't even come say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will end there, and then next week we'll talk about kind of coming home and what the recovery like that was, and then in 2 weeks we're getting kicked off.
Yeah. Kids are gonna do their own episode. So
there's no telling what they're gonna say.
Nope. So we apologize for that one to begin with. But the verses again, I'll share mine again. Philippians 1:21, and it was for me to live as Christ and to die as gain. And then Jennie's was Isaiah 41:10.
So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
Okay. So that was probably the toughest episode of recent time that we'll have to do.
Hopefully.
Yep. See you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Week.
And we'll still be in the same clothes.